about that. The internet, who knows? I got this router thing, but it's like to improve the signal, but I don't know. Sometimes it goes out on me. All right, so where was I with Stasha and Nate? So, okay. All right, I just finished talking about Stasha and Nate and about how she's being too much with the whole, you got to tell me you love me kind of thing. All right, so now let's go over to Miguel. Okay, this is day 21. So Miguel meets up with his buddy, and he's explaining that, or his buddy is basically saying that, hey, look, I'm looking at some red flags with Lindy because she seemed like she was kind of, being a little bit too much when she was talking about the whole insurance thing. So let's go back a little bit. If you guys are just now catching this video, I just did part 1 a few minutes ago. You guys can check that out. We are talking about Married at First Sight. This is the episode that came on last night. So now we're going to catch up with Lindy and Miguel. So I haven't done a review in a couple of weeks. So first, let me give you a little bit of my opinion on, what's been going on with these two. So the whole situation with her wanting to be on his insurance, and then him wanting her to take his last name, it was like almost like an ultimatum. Well, I'll give you the insurance if you, change your last name. So the way that I feel about this situation is that I understand that she wants to be protected. Now, I don't think it's a big deal for him to add her to his insurance because he can just take her off, right? But the name change is a bigger issue. But either way, it's still a little bit soon for these things. Maybe they're using this as like something to kind of prove like, oh, that you're all in. So, he's like, well, if you change your name, and I think that's very cultural for him as well. Miguel, you have to understand he comes from a Puerto Rican background, right? I'm not sure if his family's Catholic or not, but I'm not surprised that he pretty much expects her to change her last name. Now, considering that she was raised in this very like rigid, restrictive, like crazy religious background, that may be playing into why she doesn't want to change her name so fast as well. Now, she's not saying that she's not open to it, but it's a lot of paperwork. It's a headache. And, a lot of physicians, well, she's not she has her PhD in physical therapy, but a lot of different people that have their doctorate, especially women, a lot of them keep their maiden name. So I'm kind of surprised that he's like really so insistent about, well, I guess I shouldn't be that surprised, but being as though he's a doctor as well, doesn't he know that like maybe he doesn't hang out with other doctors and he doesn't know that like that's common for women who go into medicine to or go into, she's not a medical doctor, but that go into different areas of healthcare that obtain their doctorates, for them to hold on to their name, including physicians, female physicians. Hell, they've been going to school and doing all this stuff before he came along. Like, you don't have to change your last name. I just thought that was kind of ridiculous. Like, you got to change your last name. Well, slow your roll, Miguel. And I also feel like it might be a little bit premature. There's less at stake for him to put her on his insurance, right? But at the same time, it's like, just give a little bit more time. This is a time you guys got to really get to know each other, and maybe get an idea of who he is. Like, is he the kind of guy that would put you on your insurance? Not you got to do it before decision day or vow renewal day, whatever the hell they're calling it, right? So I feel like this conversation that they could have started it and been like, okay, we'll revisit this. Is not revisit, but let's just get this done. Like, X amount of time into the marriage, but with the name change being much later, because I mean, you could be together for a year and a half, and now you've changed your name and done all this stuff. Like, cause look at Stasha. Stasha is already, for the name change, and she's just diving, diving in nose first, right? And I understand people are trying to put their all into this process, and they really want it. I mean, they're hungry for marriage. They really want this so badly. I appreciate the effort, but some of these things are kind of ridiculous. I mean, especially considering that this is an experiment and it's not a traditional marriage. So now, Miguel's buddy, his Dungeons and Dragons buddy, is now expressing concerns to Miguel that Lindy was complaining to us about you not putting her on the insurance, and I mean, he was talking about her like real bad, but that's because she kind of Lindy was kind of she kind of flipped a little bit, because remember when she had that conversation with Miguel, like, you're not going to take my effing, you want me to take your effing name, but you won't put me on that effing insurance. Like, it was a little bit of a switch, but Miguel's like, I don't like this side of you. But here's the thing. Lindy's a little bit of a basket case, all right? She's like if you ever, like, okay, I love to knit, right? You guys know I love to knit. So I always have some yarn. So sometimes I'll have some yarn in a basket, and that basket will be overflow with all these different yarn, and it can just get crazy. That's what it reminds me of her. Or that's what she reminds me of, like my basket of yarn that's kind of disheveled and kind of all over the place. Because remember during the honeymoon when she couldn't find something she was looking for in her suitcase, and she was just like, in a tizzy. And when she was talking to Pastor Cal, in the early episodes, as she was about to be matched, about, because I can be a lot, and my personality, and I need someone that can handle my personality. She kind of spirals out very fast. And that is a definite red flag for Miguel, especially because Miguel is the type to kind of just be like, oh, okay, she's doing this, okay, and by this time next week I'm out, right? So he's not one to stick around. So we got the two spiral out people are Mitch and Lindy, and then the runners are Miguel and Alexis. So I'm just surprised that Miguel. Maybe I shouldn't be surprised, but I mean, it's like, didn't you see signs of that during the honeymoon? Because remember the first night he was like, she's being a little bit much, right? So you already know she kind of gets like that. So her thing is that she wants somebody to basically kind of sit there and sit through that while she goes through that till she calms down. And he's telling her, like, that is the easiest way to get me to check the fuck out, right? If you keep acting like this, especially because he's a runner. So he's not used to sitting there and having to really work something out. So, I mean, I think Lindsay is a little, or not Lindsay, Lindy, she's just a bit much. I think Lindy should have been matched with someone that has a little bit more patience. Now, Miguel has been showing some colors, some sides of him that I didn't like either. I felt like, he was really pushing the sexuals and trying to get all that popping, because, and then Lindy was back and forth like, oh no, don't feel bad for me. She said to Stasha, like, no, I was totally on board, and it was how I wanted it. It was beautiful. But then 5 minutes later, she's like, oh, I don't know if that was really what I should have been. So she's a bit much. She's a bit much. And I really don't see that lasting for the long term. So, all right, now let's go back to Ben and Megan. So they're having conversations about their exes and things like that. And I just, one thing that she kind of felt, it felt to me like she was kind of bragging about her ex, and, and like, I don't know, just like how they broke up and stuff like that, and how he was willing to fight for her and stuff like that. So my thing with Megan is what I'm noticing between not being able to forgive him, between when we very first met her and she was telling us about her family history, and she descends from a samurai line. It wasn't what she said, it was how she said it. And this is just like in the beginning, you're still getting to know these people. And it's our first time like really seeing you, interact with the other couples, other than the bachelorette party. And I don't remember if that was before or after the bachelorette party. But, she was kind of wild at the bachelorette party, which is totally fine. I mean, as long as you're not doing anything disrespectful, something you'll have to explain to your future soon to be the next day or a month down the line after the footage has been aired. But it kind of seemed like, I don't know, like when she was talking about her family line, it wasn't what she said, but it was the way that she said it. It seemed a little bit showy. Is it just me? Yeah, and we come from a samurai line, and it was the way. It wasn't like, yeah, my family comes from this line, and da, da, da. It didn't. It was a little showy. And then in the other scene where her and Ben are together, and she's holding the weight. Did you guys see that? She was holding the dumbbells or whatever you call those things, a big weight, and she was just holding it as he's talking. And it looked like, she's trying to show us that she's strong. Megan, we get it. You kicked your friend's freaking tooth out. You like to go to the gym. I don't know how often you go to the gym, but you like to go to the gym. You've made that clear. And, we know you're a nurse and things like that. But there was like a little bit of a showy. And then it just felt like, I feel like a part of her wants to kind of impress people, and maybe it's connected with her dad. I don't know. I have no idea what the root of that is, but it seems to be a little bit on the showy side. So, I mean, I was like, did anybody else see her just hold it? I mean, because it looks heavy. I mean, it looked heavier than her, right? Like, and she's just holding it and just sitting there. But I think she's trying to show, look at me, I'm strong. I can do this. I can do that. And I admire strength in a woman. But I think that, I mean, it felt like a little bit with the humiliation with the mermaid thing. I think I don't have very strong, what can I say? I don't have very strong or rigid ideas about gender roles. I think gender can be somewhat fluid, and, some women do a little bit more of what some guys do, and some guys can do things I consider to be a little bit more effeminate. As long as it works for the couple, then it's fine as far as I'm concerned, right? But in her case, I feel like she's trying to like act like his homegirl or so. I don't know. I'm just not getting the romantic vibe. I don't think he's really into her that much. I think he's more into the, like an achievement thing. I have to do this. I have to try. We have to make this work. More like a, I have to satisfy my family and show them that, it's okay. I made this work, even though I'm not a doctor. I made this work. I'm able to do this. I'm able to do that. So, as they're talking and she's talking about how great and wonderful this ex was, it seemed a little bit rubby in the facey a little bit to me. I don't know. That was just me. But then he says, well, he wants to talk more about his issues, right? And why he was judging her. And then he opened up. I mean, he opened up like a chrysanthemum, honey. He just started letting it all out about his dad and, expectations, Asian cultural, familial expectations and things like that. He really got it. I mean, he really broke it down. I mean, for people, I guess, who maybe are not familiar with, different Asian cultures. I think he shed some light for people who don't maybe know a lot about that. And I thought it was great. All the concerns that I have with Ben, they just haven't been able to surface quite yet because we're still dealing with her feeling betrayed by him. So, um, and she seemed to be happy that he opened up as well. It seemed like something happened in that moment that she was finally like, oh, okay, well, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for telling me about that because I went through this, I went through something similar. And, as a result, I had to cut my dad off and blah, 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 blah. So, I thought, well, is this it? Or are we finally, is she finally going to open up and let him in? So, all right. Now we get to day 24 and we're here with Justice and Alexis. Now, Justice and Alexis had their issue because Justin was did I call him Justice? I hope I called him Justin. I don't remember. Justin and Alexis. I feel as though the whole dog situation could have totally been avoided. I mean, totally. I had a situation where my husband and I we were not, I don't think we were even engaged yet. I think we were just living together with the intention of getting engaged within a year. Listen, I set a short timeline. I was like, we're not dragging this out. Your girl is not in her 20s, okay? And I knew if I wanted to have a kid, I couldn't have this really long engagement. So anyway, my husband had a dog that he had gotten right, I mean, literally like 2 months before we moved in. And I remember thinking to myself, oh man, I wish I would have, I wish I would have known about this, or I could have been part of the decision because, I wanted to choose like what kind of dog. I mean, I wanted to be a part of it, right? But you know what? Hey, it was what it was. He already had a dog and the dog was already there. So, the dog, in some sense, the dog kind of comes first because they were there before you, right? So, but that eventually the priority has to switch after you become spouse or you become betrothed, and then, right, then I'm sorry, then your dog does not come before me, not after that. But just, I say all that to say, so he had this dog for like a year or something like that. And then I wanted a dog. And so we decided it's okay. We got this little dog and oh my God, he was so cute. He was so cute. And I swear to God, guys, he was as small as this thing of yarn here. He was just tiny, so cute. And his other dog was a bigger dog. So we had to get these dogs together because you don't know what the more medium, because the other dog is like a 27, 30-pound dog. And then you have this tiny, teeny little thing that can fit into a coffee mug, right? You don't want them to get, to have an issue. And the older dog, the bigger dog, already did not get along with other dogs. And I already knew that. But at least he was honest enough to say to me, hey, he's not really good with other dogs. So, we got to do this carefully. And that's what we did. And, it's more ideal to do it outside in a park or something like that. We didn't do that, but we created a barricade. And when, they first met, because my little dog was only like, he was like 2 months old. He was just a puppy. So of course he's just curious and wants to play. And the other dog's like, like he's not having it, right? And especially when they're smaller and cuter and stuff like that. But the point of the story is that we had them separated, like, with a little bear where they could still sniff each other, but they couldn't, the big dog couldn't bite the puppy, right? So it was still, we created a safe environment and we did it. It took a full day. And then finally they were fine. And we were able to have the dogs hang out together, walk together, do everything. But you have to do a slow introduction. Now, maybe not all dogs will get along on the first day like mine did, but that was still like that was a nail biting, first 8 hours or so. Like, oh my God, this doesn't work. I've already fallen in love with this puppy. And the other dog's already been here. Can't get rid of it. You know what I mean? So I felt like there was not enough planning. And he definitely should have told her that my dog does not get along with other dogs. That is something, as a dog owner, it is incumbent upon you to reveal any kind of thing like that, because maybe your dog doesn't just get along with other dogs. Maybe your dog is aggressive and could possibly bite her too. Maybe the dog can get jealous. You don't know. So when your dog has behavioral things, I mean, listen, I'm a dog owner. A lot of us have dogs or whatever, but at the end of the day, they're still animals. All right. We call them babies, fur babies, pet parents or whatever, but they're still animals. All right. So, now her, on the other hand, if she was so protective of this little dog of hers, what's his name? Poindexter, I don't know, something like that. She's so protective of this dog, then why would you not even make it your absolute priority? Like, what I remember introducing my dog, my brand new puppy, to what at the time was my boyfriend's dog. I'm holding this little thing like so close to me, and I'm not letting him, just putting him in a room and turning my back. Like, are you serious? Like, come on. So I felt like that there was so much of that. There was a lot of irresponsibility, first of all, on his lack of just, he didn't disclose his dog's history. Well, no, he did say that she had a history, but he didn't say that she, like, it was like a regular thing where she just does not, or his dog just does not like other dogs, period. So I don't think Alexis was totally, fully brought up to speed with, this dog's, with Justin's dog's past behavior. And and Alexis, why the hell are you going to leave if this is such your prized little puppy here, your little, pedigree, kennel poop here, pooch, pick him up, do something a little bit more gentle, and take your time with it. It may mean taking the week off, or not the week, but like taking the weekend off and really, acclimating these dogs to one another. So, and hey, it may not work at all, but you at least got to go from that, from that angle. You have to try it in a very genteel manner. So, the dog, he basically bit his whole goddamn eyeball out, right? His eye is bleeding, all this stuff. The next day, the dog has vomit, he's vomiting blood or whatever, or maybe it was there's blood in the stool. Justin's not, he's not feeding, or Justin's giving the medication when the dog is on a empty stomach. Listen, Alexis, this is on you. All right. You knew that he messed up with that dog. So why the hell do you give him a second chance to, when he's obviously not maybe as, good about, caring for an animal the way you are, or he doesn't do it at the level of your satisfaction. I understand that, he works from home and she goes out to work. So I guess she's depending on him to give the meds or whatever. But, you may just, I mean, if it's that important to you and the dog is that important to you, maybe maybe those are the couple of days you need to take off of work, possibly to make sure that the dog is receiving its medication and that it's eating. I mean, if that's such a priority, that's all I'm saying, then you have to be more proactive as the dog owner. But equally they're at fault as far as I'm concerned. So now, after the whole candy shop and, them getting into an argument, him saying like, oh, you just like drama and I can't do anything right and stuff like that. I think, see, the thing is with Justin, because remember how, Alexis was saying, oh, everyone says how difficult marriage is, but, as soon as they landed, as soon as they get on the tarmac, basically, then all the problems start, to happen after the honeymoon. So, she spoke way too prematurely about marriage not being difficult and things like that. It's like, come on, you're still getting to know one another. Now, I do still feel that she is not attracted to him. I do feel that, but I think that she loves the attention that he gives to her. I mean, who doesn't like attention, right? So, she says that basically she would, they were talking about how they would handle how they would have handled the situation and, differently and things like that. But, and she's saying that, or he's saying that, like, he's, no matter what, he would never leave her and he would always work through it. And in past relationships, he would always try to work through things and stuff. And she was saying, like, she would have left. And I feel like some of that is because I feel like a part of her has just, it's just gone. I feel like it's just sizzled out. I feel like she doesn't trust him. And the fact that that is just my own opinion. I feel that the fact that the lack of attraction that she has to him, kind of doesn't help it. You know what I mean? So when you like really, really attract to somebody and you got that, you got that good, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes like you can let stuff kind of, it'll be traumatizing, but you may just kind of let it slide until, you can kind of maybe get over it or whatever. But I think that's it. Sometimes that physical chemistry is that glue. And see, I think that's what Stasha has. I think she's very, very attracted to Nate. Versus Alexis is just loving the attention. She's loving being treated like a princess. And see, the thing is, Justin was so over the top with I'm gonna be there for you, baby, and I'm in this. And he emotes so much. All that goddamn crying. Now listen, we have to be healthy and we have to have a space for men to cry, okay? Especially men of color, because they're supposed to be like so stoic and, and all these different things. I mean, it's just a tragedy when we think of historically what, has happened, to men. I mean, all different cultures, but, Justin's Black, right? So we're talking about a Black American context in this particular situation. So I don't want to shame him for crying all the time. But that shit is too much. I'm sorry. It's too much. He's crying all the time. Everything, every time he starts a sentence, his voice starts. Listen, if you're crying that much, then, maybe you need to get some professional help, because maybe I don't know. I mean, maybe something else is going on. That is so over the top. Now, it can also be a manipulative kind of thing as well. But I just feel like he's not that mature. I feel like he is, he probably had maybe some social delays, maybe because he was kind of awkward and tall and lanky and stuff like that when he was, a kid or something like that. But, I don't really know the origin necessarily of all this crime, but it is way too much at this point. So, I mean, do you guys think they're going to stay together? I don't know. I don't see that happening. All right. So now let's go over to, we did Justin and Alexis. All right. So, okay. So now Megan comes home, and it's Megan and Ben, right? So Megan comes home and she's got on her scrubs because she's got to let us know she's a nurse, honey. She's like, do not get it twisted. I'm an RN, registered nurse, honey. And she's got a little scrubs on and everything. And I'm thinking to myself, I mean, I'm a healthcare worker too, little disclosure there. And I tell you what, when I come home from a shift, I do not, especially when I was working during the pandemic and we were wrapped up in bubble tape and duct tape and all kinds of shields and stuff like that. We did not ever, I mean, some hospitals will provide you with scrubs to change into, but other hospitals, you just wear your scrubs and then you go home and you change. But I remember specifically asking, like my coworkers, we would be talking about our clothing and our different habits, like what we do when we get home, and no one ever said, I have as soon as I get home, I start to eat. They always take off their scrubs. You're in a very highly infectious environment. So the fact that she had on her scrubs when she walked in the house, I was just wondering, like, does she usually do that? That is really like to sit down and eat with your scrubs on. Oof. Do you know, as a nurse, the kind of things that you have to collect, the samples, and I will spare you the details, but scrubs are not something that anybody wears at their dinner table. I've just never even heard of that. So I'm thinking either A, That's just that's a little habit, and that's a little nasty. Or B, is she trying to like emphasize once again, I'm a nurse because he said I'm not a nurse, but I really am a nurse. So was it like a showy thing? You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying, like with the weights and with the samurai family story kind of thing. I really wasn't, but boy, that really, oh God, I just was like itching just looking at that. Like, who sits at the dinner table with their scrubs on? I don't care if you're a nurse, if you're a CNA, if it's the janitor cleaning up the floors. And the people don't leave their scrubs on. You don't do that. No, that's terrible. So, anyway, he has prepared a full Korean spread. All right. Barbecue, he knows how to cook. It looked nice. I mean, I appreciated that he was putting in that effort. And when you come home from a hard shift, your legs are hurting, your back's aching, your neck hurts, you just want to brush your teeth and take a shower. He has this nice meal for her. So, they sit down and they start eating and everything. And basically, he starts opening up about his people pleasing and stuff like that. Now, later on, it looks like it just kind of went to shit. Or shite. Sorry. I guess I'm trying to, you guys know I try to use my Irish curse words, but sometimes I like, it's been a couple of weeks. I need to unload on these people, or at least my opinion. She's like, I heard what you said to Alexis. Alexis came and told me, woman to woman, that you're still talking trash about me and da da da. So this is going to be explosive next week. Now, I just, there's some things I want to say, but I guess, I mean, I don't want to say, but like, like I said, because I don't have like strong, opinions about gender roles, but, just the way that she's always trying to prove her strength, and she's always trying to prove this. And, even when she walks, she's like this, you know what I mean? Like, come on, like, stand up. You know what I mean? Like, come on, like, I mean, when you're trying, like, this is a romantic situation, because part of what she was complaining that he doesn't romance her, and he's like, yeah, well, I'll have to look up a YouTube video how to do that. Like I said, Ben has his issues. I'm not saying this is all a Megan thing, but they are terribly matched, and I don't know who's going to be right for Megan. Ben, I could see some people he could work with, but that mother would probably drive them crazy. She'll get in the middle at some point. But Megan, I don't know who she wants to be with. I mean, she seemed to be really giddy, like in the beginning, about how attractive he was. She was like physically into him, but after all of this, BSN situation, like everything is just kind of had, gone to hell. So I guess this is going to be a part 2. We'll have to see next week what's going to happen with that. But those scenes, oh my God, did you see the upcoming scenes for next week? Yikes. That's all I got to say. So then the last couple here we're going to see again here is Mitch and Kristen. So, all right. So they are supposed to get together. And all the couples are supposed to get together, and we noticed that, like in the previous scenes, all the wives were giving their husbands these navy blue shirts with these white stripes. And, all the husbands put them on, no problem, it's all good. But Mitch, oof, she told Mitch, she was like, Mitch, I got this shirt for you. And he was like, yeah. You could tell, and I felt like he was in a respectful way saying that he really didn't like the shirt and he wasn't going to wear it. I was like, oh, all right. I mean, I don't think he said it in a terrible way is what I'm saying. I mean, yes, it would have been nice if he would have been a better sport and she wouldn't have to literally pull him to the side away from the cameras to let him know, hey, this is really what's going on. Everybody, all the husbands are going to be wearing their shirts. So let's kind of do this together kind of thing. So, as soon as she told him that, all you heard is, I'm not wearing the shirt. It looks ridiculous. Mitch would never wear anything like that. Honey, he went into the third person. I said, oh no, here we go. He's pitching a Mitch fit right now. There he goes. See, there he is. There he is. That's the guy right there. And this guy has been below the surface because he's been happy because he's been getting some, and she's been just basically accommodating him from day one. So they get to the event, and he was like, all right, I'm just going to agree to wear it for like, and then I'm going to take it right off. And it was just like, the way that he kind of is like he's like a spoiled child or something like that. I mean, the man is absolutely completely filthy. That apartment, are you serious? I mean, weren't you just waiting for like a little roach or something to crawl across that kitchen countertop? The food was, he's a hoarder. He's bringing in garbage items from off the street into her clean new home, and she's allowing this. So, I mean, I feel like he's just lucky that she has not pieced out at this point. But it looks like she's about to get there. It looks like she's about to lose it with him. So he does not, I think that because she's spoiling him so much that when it comes down to her like really putting her foot down about things that he's going to have to do, I don't think there's any way he is going to be able to negotiate. I mean, sometimes, there's some things one person's going to win over the other things, but there has to be some negotiation at some point with some of these things. I mean, because they're perfect strangers, right? So I just think after seeing his apartment, there's just no way, first of all, he should have been let on the show. He is a hoarder. I mean, that is a serious thing, right? So he's just going to bring in all that trash into her new place. That's not acceptable. And that needs to be addressed. And listen, I'm going to need to see these experts, okay, come back in and have some conversations with these people, because how can you be let on a show when your home looks like that? They do a home tour. How did he get through? Just like last year or last season with Steve. No job having asked Steve. How did Steve get onto a show where you have all these requirements and all these different things, and you take someone who was not employed? And forget all the Joe Secret Millionaire conspiracy theorists. You all got proved wrong, right? And so now they headed to divorce court before this, the first episode even aired, or I don't know, something. I don't remember the exact timeline, but this is not going to work. He needs help in other areas. And hoarding, that's a psychological illness, right? I mean, something has to be addressed. So anyway, let's talk next week, all right? And I will see you guys then. Hold on, Mama's almost done. Okay. Hold on, Mama's almost done, baby. So hold on. No. Stay over there. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe, share the video with a friend. Turn on your notifications so you know when I'm coming on. I will